everyone, this is 4.3 Perceptual Interpretation. The objective for today is that by the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine how important perceptual interpretation is to our overall experiences. So perceptual interpretation is how we interpret the senses that we are receiving. First, we've realized that there is a critical period in sight. For people who get vision after infancy, we realize that they have a difficulty understanding shapes. So they can get colors, they can get images in general, but shapes are hard for them. So it shows us that there's a critical period for sight with shape. Perceptual adaptation is the fact that we can adapt to changes in our visual input. And we're going to practice this with drunk goggles that alter your vision. And after having them on for a few minutes, the majority of you will be able to adapt your vision to those goggles. Perceptual set is a mental predisposition, and this is based on experiences and schemas. Another way to think of schemas is the way that we organize and interpret information. So perceptual set is based off of information that you already have in your brain. So it's different than priming, where priming is somebody kind of setting you up for something, whether and giving you information. Perceptual set is based off of information that you already have, that's already in your mindset. Think of like the green milk. Like you guys already expect that milk is going to be white. So when you see green milk, it throws off your perceptual set. And part of this is based off of contextual effects, and that meaning that context can also influence your perception. So if you are listening to happy music or sad music, or that can also impact your perception on a certain event. Emotion and motivation. Perception can be influenced top-down by your emotion or motivation. So for example, a hill can seem a lot steeper if you're carrying a great big backpack. Whoops, sorry, I want to go back and talk about this for a second. Perception can be a mix of your biopsychosocial phenomenon. So our perception, our version of reality, is based off of our social and cultural influences. So this could be cultural assumptions and expectations. Our biological influences, just your sensory analysis, your unlearned visual phenomena, and a critical period for your sensory development. And then psychological influences. These are things that you've learned, Gestalt principles, context, perceptual set, selective intention. All of these things influence our version of reality, right? So if you grow up here versus maybe a war-torn country, your perception might be different when you take a look at certain things. Is there extrasensory perception? This is ESP. So does ESP exist? Extrasensory perception is perception without sensory input. So for example, telepathy, where you can have a mind-to-mind connection. So I can be sending you messages to your mind without having to say anything aloud. Clairvoyance is when you can perceive remote events, so things that are taking place in other parts of the world or the country without knowing about them. Precognition is telling the future or what's going to happen in the future. Parapsychology is the study of this, of ESP and this paranormal phenomenon. Unfortunately, there's little scientific evidence to prove that this actually exists. Even things like horoscopes, a lot of times it ends up being more of a like a priming or more of a hindsight bias, where we can take a look at something after it happens and be like, oh yeah, my horoscope said that today was going to be great, and this must be why today's great. So there's little scientific evidence to actually prove that these things do actually happen. And that is it for today.